Hey there, welcome to the Happy Teaching Podcast. Today we are talking about AI. Now, when I say AI or artificial intelligence, you might be thinking many things. Some of you might be wanting to plug your ears, turn this off, and be like, nope, I am not dealing with that. It's too much. Some of you might be like, oh yes, I have so many of my favorite tools. It's changing my life in a good way. I love it. Others of you may be somewhere in between where you're like, I see the value in some of it, but also I have concerns about some of it in the way that it's impacting us in the world. And I also feel like, it's moving so fast. I'm confused. I don't always understand how to use it, right? There's such a wide spectrum with where we are at with our own understanding and journey with artificial intelligence. Now, the reason I'm creating this episode is to talk about AI when it comes to teachers and when it comes to early childhood teachers, and not to tell you, you better just go use AI now, right? That is not what I'm going to tell you. And I am not here to tell you, oh, it's just the best and it's going to just solve all your problems, right? I feel like as with anything, not anything, but with many things, there are pros and then there are also cons. And when things move quickly, sometimes we see so many pros and then cons come later. There are you might be listening and thinking of all the concerns you have, rightly so. And as I said before, you might be listening and thinking of all the excitement you have, rightly so. Okay. We're in this weird, futuristic time when it comes to AI, but I want to talk to you about it because teachers are using it and schools are using it. And if you've attended any of my classes before, especially when it comes to behavior and things like that, mostly I use this saying, I like to say control what we can control. Okay. Also, side note, you'll have to excuse me. I'm fighting a little bit of a sickness, I think, but I want to record. I feel fine enough to record. But if you are watching me on YouTube and you're like, she doesn't look so well, or if I sound like a frog on here, that's why. But hopefully we can still get through this episode and you can get some great info. Anyway, back to the topic. Controlling what we can control. If your school introduces a new AI tool and you hate AI, or you're like, I just don't want to do it, that is a valuable thought and feeling, right? You are totally allowed to do that. You may even be trying to convince them maybe to do something different, and that's totally okay too. There might be lots of better options. But sometimes we feel anxious because we worry that we don't understand something fully, and it feels like it rapidly is replacing stuff that we normally would do, and that can cause anxiety. The way to lessen anxiety is to control what we can control, right? Think about what pieces of this can I actually make a difference in, and to also develop an understanding, because information helps anxiety. When you have information, and I don't mean like an overload of information. Learning about every AI tool in the world will just overwhelm you. That is just going to stress you out. But having information like, okay, this is what the school has given me. This is what we are using. So what can I learn about this the most? What can I take from it to help me the most and control what I can control? So I have about 6-7 things I want to quickly go through that are tips for you. This should help with any overwhelm you have about AI tools, right? And if you are an expert with AI, this should maybe reinforce some things for you, maybe give you some new ideas or reminders. If you are like AI allergic, this might give you some encouragement to try a few things or not be as resistant when it's coming down the line in your district or trainings or things like that. Okay. All right. Number 1, AI is a tool. I know it can feel like Terminator type world out there right now, or like everything's being replaced by AI and it gets a little bit overwhelming, but just remind yourself, AI is not you, right? I know that they can make voice clones and face clones. They can do a lot of things with AI, but AI is not you, nor will it ever be you. It is a tool, just like a pencil, timer, or lesson plan template. Okay. I mean, many of you are, my age or older. Probably a lot of you are also younger, but I remember when the internet was a new thing and everyone's minds were like, psh, right? And now things have just gone so fast. But again, things are a tool for us. You are still the teacher and decision maker, just like with Google or anything else, right? With internet and popping on a search engine, you are in charge of what you're looking for, what you're doing. Okay. So it's a tool. Use it for a specific purpose to reduce your mental load. Okay. Because teachers, we know, are making so many decisions every day. If we can use a tool to just offload a little bit of that mental stress, then it's helpful. okay? But it's not us, it's not you, and it's not replacing you, okay? All right. Number 2, this should be obvious, but you would be surprised. Do not input student names, any identifiable data. Speak in general terms. So if you're looking for support with something, I need help with a kindergarten student who's struggling with transitions. Okay. Or you're looking for support. You're not going to say, oh, Billy in my class is really doing terrible because of his parents' struggles and blah, blah, blah. No, we're not doing identifiable data, information, any of that. Keep information private. Should be obvious, but you still have to say it because sometimes people just kind of get too comfortable and they forget those things. So also, going along with using it as a tool, number 3 here is using it as like an assistant or a co-planner, okay? AI is not doing everything for us, especially in early childhood. We know how much kids need hands-on play, learning. We know that, right? So in this episode, we're talking about AI for you. I'm not talking about for your kids. We're talking about to help you in the classroom. Use it as a co-planner or assistant. Brainstorm some classroom management strategies with it. Generate some play ideas, like say, I have this in my curriculum. What are some extensions here that may be more hands-on and playful to use with my students? Of course, you could probably come up with them, right? Of course. But maybe by the end of the day, you're totally toast. You know, like in general, what you want to get done, but you want to save a little bit of time to get home to your family. Use it as a tool or an assistant. And that would be a great time if you are in the Print and Play Club. Go use Poppy, and I'll let you know a little bit more about her in the show notes as well as at the end of the episode. But using Poppy, your teacher assistant in the club, to generate those things quickly for you can be really, really helpful and give you back some of your time. Number 4, start small. You do not have to use AI for everything. There's every day, and especially I don't know if you're on social media at all, there's just ads and things at you where it's like, there's this tool and that tool and this tool. It's just really overwhelming. You don't need to use it for everything, right? We don't need to outsource our lives to robots and be online and connected to everything all the time. We can use things as help for quick tasks. You might use it for activity ideas or center ideas or brain breaks or theme ideas, things like that, okay? Or maybe organizing things for you. Maybe your school, I know around here, they have adopted some AI tools to help with some of like the assessments and things like that. And again, people have different feelings on both sides of that, right? But again, if it's being used, how can if I'm in this and I can't change it with that, in that case, what can I get from it? Can it be helpful in some way to assist me, not do everything, okay? Number 5, this is a really big one, and it makes a big difference in your results. You need to give AI context. So if you're using Poppy or you're using whatever tool your school might have or something like that, and you're prompting an AI and getting support from it, you need to give it context. So instead of just saying like, I need some subitizing activities, give it some context. So example, can you help me with some hands-on math ideas for subitizing to 5 in kindergarten? I have about 10 minutes. Right? Now it has context to pull from, and it will make a difference in your results. The more context you give, the better your results. Okay? If you take anything from this episode, probably that, to save you more time. And also, if you're concerned about, a lot of impact of like, maybe you're thinking, we don't want to be going back and forth with AI too much, right? Exactly. Give it a better prompt, give it context, and then it saves you time because it works a little bit faster. Okay? And our goal here is just, how can we get more of our time back for real life things out in the actual air and get some fresh air using AI to give us more time away from it. As funny as that sounds, I'm all about using AI and tools not to spend more time on the computer and more time on our phones, but to get away from all of that. Because otherwise, if I'm still scrolling and typing and searching and this and that, I'm spending even more time. So using the tool to get your time back. All right. Number 7, use it to reduce your decision fatigue. So we make hundreds of decisions daily, but literally, probably thousands. I don't even know. By 9 a.m., you've probably done a million things in your classroom. This can help you when your brain is really tired. If you're like, okay, I'm getting ready to go home, but I really wanted a fun morning meeting and I had this idea, can AI work it out with you? Can you go to Poppy in the club and tell her, like, I had this idea I really wanted to extend on, but I really want to go home. I'm exhausted. Can you help me feel prepared for the morning? Okay. She can help you feel prepared for the morning. So use it to reduce your decision fatigue. So you're not going, should I do this, that? Maybe you have a lot of ideas, dump them into AI, right? Start with what you have and ask it to condense this for you. Like, I have too many ideas right now. Can you help me, as a teacher assistant, can you help me break this down in a more manageable thing and less ideas so that I can make my decision and move on? Okay. Next, use your teacher judgment. Okay. AI is not the expert. And I'm guilty of this too, but so many of us, let's say we Google something or whatever, and then there's like an AI thing at the top and we just believe it. Again, I am guilty of this too. We read the AI recap and we're like, oh, well, guess it's this. This is the answer to what I was looking up. Not always, right? You are the teacher. You are the expert. Take the ideas that work, leave the rest, okay? We're not going to automatically just take it at its word. You're the expert still. It's designed to help you. You know your students best, not the robot, not AI, not artificial intelligence. You know your students best. So remember that, okay? And use your teacher judgment with it. Finally, a last tip here, tip number 8 is use tools built for teachers. This is one that often kind of gets forgotten because sometimes we just run to like the basics, right? The basic websites that are like, let me just talk to this AI and next. General AI doesn't always understand early childhood classrooms. Our prompts matter for sure, but if you're just popping something in there, it's not always trained on what you need it to be trained on. Okay, so we need to use AI that's built for teachers. There's plenty of that. Your school is probably using AI built for teachers, but that is also why we built Poppy, the teacher assistant inside the Print and Play Club. Because Poppy is specifically trained on early childhood education and all of our Print and Play Club systems, content, and more. And it's particularly helpful with classroom management. You can talk to Poppy about behavior support, classroom routines, activity ideas. She can even help you find specific activities, centers, resources within the Print and Play Club, like a supercharged search engine. But really, her goal is not to just be a search engine for you, but to really be your teacher assistant, to break things down with you, help you solve problems. Okay, so if you have not tried her, check our show notes for ways that you can get acquainted with Poppy, ways that you can check her out, see how she might help you in your classroom. If you're a Print and Play Club member, log in, start using her right away, and let us know how she's helping. Ask her things. Remember, prompts matter. Be specific. And that's how she can help you the best and guide you to the right resources and more in the club. And she's trained on early childhood. She's not just going to give you random things, right? She's specifically trained. And that is important when we're deciding on the best tools that will give us our life back when it comes to personal time and energy. Okay. So to kind of wrap this up, you don't have to love AI. You really don't. And you don't have to use it all the time. You don't, even if the teacher next door is like the AI king or queen. You don't have to feel any specific way about it, but understanding it removes some fear around it. Doesn't mean you have to all of a sudden use it all the time, right? But understanding it can remove some of the fear around it or some of the anxieties, because our goal is really just confidence and control. And remembering that we're still ourselves, we are in control of it, and that can lessen some of our nerves around it and just make us feel a little more confident. And we are all about teachers feeling confident. All right, our goal is episodes in 10 minutes or less, and I'm looking at almost 14 minutes here, so we are done. Wrapping this up, maybe our longest episode. I hope some of it was helpful. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode. Happy teaching.